Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this online conference on smart living market opportunities and challenges in France and Germany. The German-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry is organizing this event to promote business cooperations and also knowledge exchange between the two countries. And these business promotion programs are possible thanks to the support of the Federal Ministry of Economics and Energy in Germany. Let's look at the global market for smart living application. It has grown significantly in recent years. Before the Corona crisis, growth rates were very high, over 30% on average. The smart living sector is very large. Household applications such as smart refrigerators, washing machines, and ovens are by far the segment with the highest sales. This is followed by networking and control systems, comfort and lighting, and also increasingly important in regard to climate change is becoming energy management and further building security and home entertainment. Remember lockdown? We all have spent a lot of time at home. Therefore, the quality of living spaces has become more important for millions of people everywhere. And then after the Corona crisis, the European Union has announced an extensive economic recovery program in which accommodation policy is an important pillar. And also, if we look at the French and German economic recovery program, this is also included. There's a lot of funding provided for innovative measures to improve energy management in buildings, support for sustainable constructions, or the autonomy of older people, for whom the aim is to make it easier to live in their own homes. So when we look at the smart living market, it's characterized by high diversity across different economic sectors and industry. It includes manufacturers of devices and equipment, energy suppliers, internet giants and startups, telecommunication providers, and also craftsmen and installers. So the increasing diversity and complexity of smart living applications illustrate the great relevance of partnerships and cooperations. Therefore, this conference today will focus on German-French cooperations among the smart living sector. To facilitate this, I'm with you. My name is Alexandra Seidel-Lauer, and I'm working at the German-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry. An interesting program awaits you, and the first speaker is the General Director of the German-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Patrick Brandmeier. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can all hear and see me all right. I would like to welcome you all of you today to our conference. Thanks for your kind words, Alexandra. And I would especially like to thank all our partners from the companies and other providers who made this wonderful happening possible, focusing obviously then on an exchange between professionals on this very important matter. From my perspective, it's very interesting to see from a Chamber of Commerce perspective that we see more and more topics we are handling, say in conferences, with regards to digital impact. And I think this one is also a wonderful example how we really see how the business world and I think also our private lives are changing. And therefore it's I think also very important that we have that type of exchange. A second aspect I would like to share is obviously, besides from, I think, all the efforts we see which have been made in the industry by all of you representing your companies, where I think we have the strategies in place in order to support, to provide product services around that topic. I think we all do share that we have a common, so to speak, challenge. And that's, I think, true for Germany and for France. And that's obviously also the infrastructure required to make all these wonderful appliances and applications and services possible. I think the high-speed broadband connection, for example, is one of the topics we are looking at. And as you all know, in Europe or in Germany especially, maybe also in France, I think we still have some efforts to close some gaps, because I think that will be a very important precondition to also help to develop that sector. On the other hand, I think we also see that in other areas of the world, this technology we will discuss today is maybe already more advanced or already really part of everyday life. I, for myself, have been spending some years in the Scandinavian area, and there obviously with a scarce population, smart living applications are already, I would say, a day-to-day experience for many users. And I think that's maybe not yet the case, maybe in companies like France and Germany, but we are catching up. And I think, as Alexandra has pointed out already, especially during the COVID pandemic, we all have seen what advantages some digital solutions can bring to our everyday life, not only when working, but also when being at home in our smart living homes in the near future. With that, I would like to hand over or to hand back, I think, to Alexandra. I would like to thank all of you again, especially also the team, Alexandra, but also Martina Mousseau, Kevin, and all the other colleagues who have made this event and this conference possible, and wish us all then a very successful day, good discussions, and obviously also a rich exchange then between the B2B partners. Thank you for that. And I hand back to Alexandra.
Thanks, Patrick. You said that smart living applications are day-to-day life. Do you have any smart living applications? Don't disappear. Tell us.
Okay. To be very honest with you, I don't use Alexa and that sort of thing. I have been using, if that qualifies as smart application, I have been using a smart application back in Norway in order to preheat my home and to preheat my car. From remote. So I don't know whether that qualifies, especially as a smart living solution, but I would say it's a good start. And in France, I'm currently still looking at it. So let's see how it will evolve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Mr. Pantmeyer here also mentioned challenges like the infrastructure, which has to be built in countries to really be the basis of smart living applications. But there are a lot of other challenges. For example, interoperability and intelligent data spaces are a challenge. So we are happy to welcome Gabriel Wetzel with us. He's the CEO from Robert Bosch Smart Home. Hello, Mr. Wetzel. Welcome.
Hello.
And thank you for being with us. And we're looking forward to your keynote about interoperability and intelligent data spaces. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I have to share my screen first. You see my screen?
Yes, we do. Thank you. Perfect.
Okay. So, thank you, Alexandra, for the introduction. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. En tant que Français avec plus de 20 ans d'expérience dans le groupe technologique Bosch, je suis très heureux d'être présent avec vous ici pour cette conférence qui va nous permettre, je l'espère, d'échanger sur les possibilités de développer le marché de la maison intelligente. Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren. Als Franzose mit über 20 Jahren Erfahrung in dem Technologiekonzern Bosch freue ich mich besonders, mit Ihnen dabei sein zu dürfen, um uns über Möglichkeiten der Weiterentwicklung des Smart Home Markts auszutauschen. Let us continue now on English. I believe it will be easier for all of us. It's also a pleasure for me to be there, not only as the CEO of the Robert Bosch Smart Home, but also as member of the Wirtschaftsinitiative Smart Living. The initiative is a unique roundtable in Germany across the whole industry impacted by the smart home solutions, from real estate companies to insurance, other solution and device providers. The target of this initiative is to promote the smart living solutions with intense connections to the political actors. The initiatives encourage a broad distribution of smart living solutions in the mass market, and it's also the objective of this conference. let me, okay, I don't have any camera anymore. It's desired like that. Okay. So, to open this day and initiate a fruitful discussions, I will share some insights from the French and German markets. I will start with the benefits of smart living solutions, and I will continue with the challenge of such applications. Bosch is acting in different activity sectors and is a leading provider of life solutions. You probably all know the Bosch heating, Bosch security products, Bosch tooling, or the Bosch home appliance. Step by step, these products have been connected, and a revolution has been initiated because the connectivity is changing our life. It's changing our private life. It's changing our working life. It's changing the way we do business, our business model, and the customer-supplier relationship. The consequence is that we should focus our attention more on these changes and potentials and less on the technology behind it. And that's what Accenture says in 2019, the future home is an attitude, not a technology. And that's also what Bosch is communicating with a funny and successful communication campaign, Live Like a Bosch, with over 25 million views on YouTube. To live and use the technology in a valuable manner, with benefits for yourself and with benefits for the planet, is a new attitude. Now, I will focus my presentation on this new attitude for the smart living applications. What does it mean to adopt the smart living attitude from a user point of view? First, the smart home users want to live energy efficient. They want to eat only when and where it's required. They want that their heating systems are switched off automatically when some windows are open. They want to get a reminder when the windows stay open longer as requested. Secondly, the user expects a comfortable living. Automated shutter by day off, lights control by voice, or automated air quality reminder. Interesting is that the users expect both on the same time. They expect to live energy efficient and with a high degree of comfort. And what sounds like a contradiction is reality and is a general user expectation. To visualize this contradiction, on the one hand, the people would like to live energy efficient, and on the other hand, the average comfort temperature has augmented by 2 degrees from 20 to 22 degrees in the last 20 years. These dilemmas are what the people in Germany call the sowohl als auch, and the people in France call it en même temps. So the users want to have both a better comfort and a lower energy consumption. And that's where the technology plays its role. 10 years ago, it was not possible to solve this equation with an affordable budget. In the meantime, you can have a higher temperature in a room where you are active and a lower temperature in a bedroom, for example. In the meantime, and Alexandra, you mentioned before energy management, you can cool your home for free with the function cooling with the sun, the combination of a heat pump, a solar roof, and an energy management, ideally from Bosch. You get a comfortable temperature for 0 cost and 0 emission. So the third most valuated benefit in the new attitude is the secured living. With the technology in your pocket, you can live out of your home completely relaxed. You get a reminder if you leave your home with windows that are remained open. You keep an eye on your home, on your loved one, with your camera and remote control functions. You open your door remotely for a parcel delivery with a smart lock after have checked with your outdoor camera who is in front of your entrance. These are the three main benefits of smart living applications today. And it's interesting to see that the three main drivers for the smart home users are the same on both sides of the Rhine. It's documented by the Bitkom in Germany and by OnePole in France, and I can confirm it from a Bosch point of view. Now, same drivers, same expectations and benefits don't mean that the solutions are identical in France and in Germany. Some political decisions and directions are completely opposite between France and Germany. One example we have all in mind is the source of the energy used for the electricity production and the corresponding impacts. With the high share of nuclear electricity in France, the electrical radiators are largely represented in the French apartments. Under the cultural difference, I would pack the extreme importance of data privacy and data protection in Germany. The consequence is that the equipment of private home with a smart meter is in Germany still in a starting phase. In France, all residential buildings are already equipped with the smart meter. Next point, the different kind of housing. We should keep in mind 34% of the French population is living in an apartment. They are 56% in Germany. So resulting from these different boundary conditions, the technology and solutions are different. So the technology like electrification, but also some specific construction or norm topics. One example, the size of the in-wall box are different in France as in Germany. The legal obligations for smoke detectors also. Last point, the go-to-market approaches are different. For example, people in France usually buy or even rent their alarm system with a remote surveillance service. Alarm services are sold by banks, insurance companies, or by telecommunication operators. Now, we have seen that the benefits are similar in France and in Germany, but that specificities of each country lead to different solutions. What about the barriers? Also for the barriers, the reasons not to adapt the smart living solutions are identical in France and in Germany. Main reason is the offered value that is considered by some people is worse than the price. To change that, we should work together to communicate more efficiently the value. We should work together to increase this value. We should work together to offer new end-to-end solutions. And that's what a change of attitude for companies like us as a technological company. And as example, in the Bosch group, we have started, for example, partnerships to offer unique solutions. Partnerships with, one example, with Mercedes to offer unique control functions from the car to control your home, but also partnerships with some smart lock supplier to offer end-to-end solution. Partnership is one aspect of the new attitude. But there is a second aspect of the new attitude we all have to keep in mind. So connectivity offers a chance to evolve the product during the lifetime and to create value over the complete lifetime of the product. And I will say, as a French guy, a smart home solution is like a French wine. It becomes better each day. Secondly, so people would like to get an easy-to-use system. Easy to install, easy to use, easy to modify, easy to evolve. Third, so people see a risk in the privacy and security of these new systems. So the good news is that the solutions exist. Software updates over the air, continuous improved security, security by design, local storage of the data in your home and not in the cloud. All known features that can help to convince the users to adopt smart home applications. Another lever to remove the barriers could be the new Matter initiative. In the barriers listed before, there were the topics value and ease of use. The interoperability is key to remove both barriers. Thanks interoperability, new end-to-end functionality can be developed. And thanks interoperability, the user can manage its complete home with the same application. It means interoperability improves the user experience and simplifies the value creation. Approximately 200 companies joined their force to create a new standard called Matter. You all remember the voice assistant introduction has pushed the smart home market in the years 2017, 2018. And by the way, with an interesting difference between France and Germany. First with Google in France and first with Alexa in Germany. So, is Matter the next push to wake curiosity from potential users? That's a big question we will have to discuss also today. Now, let me summarize my main message. The smart living applications and the smart living market are driven by the same benefits and are slowed down by the same barriers in France and in Germany. But the real needs in each country can only be covered by a detailed know-how of the respective market. Matter could help to boost the market, but won't be sufficient. So I'm eager to discuss today with you how can we develop the market together.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Wetzel. Thank you very much. So smart living solutions are like French wine. I like that. They become better with age. So they aim to improve the life of the users, you said. Make life more comfortable, energy efficient and secure. But there are many different solutions that you said on the market. Interoperability is a real subject. So for you, what are the main obstacles for interoperable data with the smart living industry fair?
So the real interoperability issue is coming from an historical evolution. First, at the beginning, there was no standards. After, there was some standards, but they were not secure. So, and now, the next step is, are we able to make a secured standard in order we can really share and let the system be operated across different companies without having any security issues. And that's why now it's probably the time that the interoperability will come.
A big issue, and that's also the subject of our first discussion panel. So I'm very happy that we have with us Gloria Glang from Le Grand, Alexander Weihe from Vonovia, and Johannes Haug from Haga. Madame Glang, can you please illuminate your camera? Madame Glang? I don't want to be the only woman on this panel. So I hope we can see you. So maybe the technique can help and get the camera going of Madame Glang. Kevin? Madame Glang, are you still there? Well, I hope she will be able to join us a little bit later. Mr. Wetzel, you mentioned Matter, and Matter matters. Madame Glang, here you are. I'm happy to see you, not yet, but maybe your camera is working soon. Because I wanted to give you the floor, ladies first, because Madame...
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We cannot see you, but well, we hear your voice. And Madame Glang, you are from Le Grand, French
I'm here.
industrial group, historical based in Limoges, and one of the world leaders in products and systems. We can hear you. Can you hear us? Madame Le Grand? Madame Glang, well, I think your connection is not quite so well.
Yes, I can hear you. Normally, my video is on, so I don't know why you don't see me.
Mm.
You should hear and see me.
We hear you.
Both
So
is on.
Let's start with the first questions to you, Matter. Legrand is mentioned. Wetzel mentioned the initiative Matter. It consists of 170 companies with big players such as Amazon, Google, Apple, but also IKEA, Zigbee, and it aims to establish interoperability protocol with standard models that ensure smart home devices that they can work together. And Legrand is member of Matter. So what do you see and mean on one side for the European smart home players and on the other side for the European market in general? Where do you see threats and opportunities?
So first, it is important to say that it is really key to have one common language between products of different producers to really maximize the end user experience. If not, then the user will really end up with a complexity of gateways, translators, given the different brands connected. So the less translators and gateways exist in a smart building, the better it is in terms of simplicity, of the commissioning and daily use, really adding value to both installers and end users. So having this link via Meta will really help to reduce drastically the number of gateways and will make the system less complex and maybe expensive, easier to install and commission, and above all, it will be upgradable, allowing new objects to be added at any time. So the building becomes basically really future-proof. But what does it mean really for global smart home players? Well, it creates an easy market access, as they will not be obliged to choose a communication technology because Meta will ease that. And we believe it is even more important for the users, give them more confidence and will ease installation and interoperability of products. So we believe it will be good for users and user experience in Europe, but as well also for other geographies, really.
So you talked a lot about opportunities. What do you think are the challenges or maybe even the threats, especially for European market?
Does the question go to me?
Yes. Still you.
So, so the smart living or smart home market is really an international market, as we already heard it in the opening speech. So the challenge is to allow users to build their own experience without being dependent on certain brands, technologies, and systems. So all these smart products and services which are on the market and will also come to the market in the future have several objectives. In residential buildings, the main customer needs are comfort, security, energy management. For commercial buildings, of course, this is a little bit wider. We also see space management, more efficient use of the buildings, and a need also to optimize and maximize real estate productivity. So those products and services are not only from one supplier or one brand owner, as many companies are specialized on a few products and rarely offer the full experience and functionality in a building the customer is looking for. So if we want to have the best user experience, all these products and services have to, of course, communicate between each other. And here comes really interoperability into the game. So manufacturers and industry will only be able to continue to grow and to develop innovative solutions and products successfully if the market barriers are removed. So this is a matter of uniform standards, interoperability, data security, and user friendliness. So that today the market is still very complex, as we already heard it, for customer, and it's not easy to understand if devices can or cannot communicate with each other, right? As a user, this is really complex. So this can only be solved with the mentioned uniform standards. So issues are, right, to really agree on a few, well, possibly one multi-brand language, and that language must be spoken by all the devices within the smart building and must be used to map the most common user need with shared sentences, like, for example, switch on the light in the kitchen, or tell me the temperature in the living room. So to have a future-proof building, devices are getting installed normally, not all at the same time, right? You buy something, then you buy something a year later and so on, and you want to plug them all together, right? So whenever the devices are plugged into the smart building, the ability to speak the same language must not go through a complex setting procedure in which a technical expert must be engaged if there is a common language, right? So, and here we can say Legrand works towards providing interoperable solutions with the market's various IoT protocols, and to define the industry standards. And we see this essential for the development of connected products. So, for example, we have the Works with Legrand platform, which is accessible to everyone, opens the door to a huge variety of partners, and demonstrates Legrand's push to encourage innovation and the development of new services beyond our own ecosystems. So we are open to everything and want to maximize a positive customer experience with all ecosystems and with a large group of partnerships embedded. And maybe I stop here, not going too long.
Yes, you really are mentioned that you can leave your camera on. It was not, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I was not sure.
Yes, so Legrand, a partner of Matter. And now I would like to ask Mr. Haug. You were from Hager Group, and a family-owned company in Saarland, in Blieskastel. I have to mention this because I'm also from Saarland. I'm very proud of it. Your company is specialized in electrical installations. So how do you see the Matter initiative?
Thank you for the introduction. Yes, I'm from the company Hager, based in the Saarland region, near the border, near the French border. I think I see the French border. It's 5 kilometers far away from here. So the company Hager provide solutions for residential buildings and commercial buildings, and since the beginning of the company, we talk about standardization in smart homes or smart buildings. I think it's a long story, more than 30 years. And in the past, we create some standards in the smart home business, but also in the smart building. It's more bigger buildings, and we have some standards. We have some different domains, and we have some standards for all the domains, but also for specific domains like energy management, for example. We have also create new standards. Why we have so many standards in Europe, but also worldwide? I think we have different domains, different needs, and different requirements in different countries and different markets, and also coming from the customer. So the approach from Matter, I think it's very good, and I think future-proofed. For me, it's interesting not only to have one language. For me, it's also interesting which rules we have to create the standard. And for example, when you have standardization bodies like IEC or Senelec, it's every time an open door. We have clear rules, and we go to these open doors or open tables, talk about standards with all the different countries and different stakeholders. And this is, I think, a very future-proofed process. And here in Matter, we have the big 3 US-based companies, and the interesting thing for me is which kind of rules we have to create a standard. How can I part of the standard. And I think from the customer point of view, we need easy solutions, easy to install, easy to manage, what Mr. Wetzel mentioned before. And he don't talk about standards. You have a customer experience, you have a clear need to make it easy to adapt the application in the different fields of application efficiency or comfort, assistance or security. And this is the need of the customer. And the language matter could help us. But I think for me, it's a transfer from the existing standards with open interfaces, probably also to matter, to have, I think, a common one language in the future. It could be in some years, but we have existing applications and standards, and we must respect it and need interfaces between these standards and matter, for example. Or I think this is a success story or success factors also in front of the customer, to have a customer experience who have a seamless data process also for services. And I think it could help, but we are not, we are in the starting phase, and in this starting phase, we need these kind of interfaces and probably in the standardization body to have one common standard.
Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about the user. We heard three manufacturers, Robert Bosch, Hager, Legrand, and Mr. Weyer, you're from Vonovia, you're kind of the customer. Vonovia is one of Germany's biggest housing companies. And it's head of innovation, you are head of innovation and business building. So do you perceive the smart living market as fast growing with the potential to change the building sector for the better?
First of all, thanks for having me. And maybe it's important to understand that at Vonovia, we own 350,000 flats in Germany and rent them out to our tenants. So it's really about multi-family home, and it's about affordable living. So we're not so much focused on single-family homes. But what I see for my customer group is, yes, technology will be a driver. There's no question about it. We need technology. We need it especially for CO2 reduction and climate neutral energy production. But I also see that the value, the perceived value for our customers is not really there. So it's great if we have the sentence to say switch on the lights in the living room, but actually for that, I don't need a sentence. I have a one-click solution. It's right beside my door. I just switch on the light switch and the light goes on, right? So what I mean is, it's we need to use technology to really create value for our customers. And I think one of the difficulties, at least that we are having with a lot of pilots and things that we try out, is that we imagine a lot of value, but then actually the perceived value for the customer isn't that big. So it's so I think really the price and value argument is an important argument. So do I see it as a fast-growing market right now? Not yet. I think it was 2 years ago at the Smart Living Initiative, where we say we're at the moment where, you know, when you look into a pot of popcorn that's boiling, now it's the moment where it starts. It's still popping, and it's still popping one by one. But nevertheless, I'm convinced it makes absolutely sense to deal with the issue because we need technology.
Yeah, so I think Mr. Wetzel wants to take one of the popcorns that you mentioned, Mr. Wetzel. You want to react to Mr. Weyer?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Weyer, to have launched or started this discussion. I think what you have mentioned now is a very important point. What I have presented before in the drivers from the users, it's really more focused on people who are really taking care from their home, from trying to transform their home in something different. And you mentioned it in your introduction that Vonovia is probably targeting a different kind of users, of customers. You mentioned affordable living, and it's really a challenge, I will say, to change also the behavior and the acceptance of meter. So I don't know in English what is the name of
the
meter.
tenants. Yes, the tenants.
The tenants. And to mention something we do together as a Vonovia and Bosch with Vodafone and other companies, we have launched a challenge, what is called Smart Meter Challenge, in order to try to transform the behavior from the tenants. And that's something I totally agree with you. My picture described before is probably not the complete market. I agree with you. So that's the first point. And the second point, what we have not yet enough is value for you. So what I have described before is value for users. They feel excited. They feel they do something for the planet. But the point is, what is Vonovia benefit from this complete from this technology? And that's something that is still not on the level you expect, and I would expect from my side too. So that's why I believe what Ms. Glang before mentioned. We have interoperability of the device. I would say that becomes better and better and will probably become even better with Matter. But now we need also to have this interoperability on the service level. So it means energy savings coming to your billing systems, coming to your utility management. And that's something we don't have yet. That's definitively an open point or a white spot in the smart living activities.
Maybe just two things to react on that. So yes, you're right. So actually, in my department is named Innovation and Business Building. So I'm looking to build new businesses that create value for our customers and for us. But I think really to start an initiative in order to change the behavior of the customers is maybe the wrong way round. Yeah. So what I try is to understand where I can help the customers and do that in a way that I'm also at the table, of course. But there was also a question here from Marcana in the questions and answers. So I prefer if we're able to create some kind of pull moment. And for that, and if we think about also what's in it for us, I would go from the device and from potentials of actors and so on to services. So how can we use the technology? How can we use the smart technology to create new services that make sense for our customers, that make their living easier? And actually, maybe also how can we finance that? So is there a way that maybe we can do services in ambient assisted living that's not even paid by the tenant, but maybe by some kind of insurance company? So I think we have to think in services that give a real value to the user. But anyway, so I'm not arguing against. I'm very happy that there's a lot going on, and we need that. And actually at Vonovia, we're trying out different things from digital lock to sensors for ambient assisted living. But what we see is really it's not at least that I would say it's a fast growing market already.
So, Mr. Haug and Ms. Klang, you heard of some needs and requirements of clients as Vonovia. How would you imagine you could respond to them?
Ladies first.
What COVID has maybe accelerated. So just to, can you hear me well?
Well, a little bit time spaced, but yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so what COVID has accelerated, and what do we see, of course, and what governments are pushing, and especially Germany and France and the European Union with the Green Deal, is really the aim to drive energy efficiencies, right? So buildings should not only be smart and comfortable and so on, right, and safe, but there's also a need to drive down CO2 actively, right? And we all as producers have to participate and have to drive this trend with our products. And that is something that I see more and more. And that is also more and more coming in the I would say conscious behavior of our customers, of our end users, right? And thanks God, customers are asking more and more, how can my smart devices help me driving down energy, help me reducing my CO2 footprint? And that is maybe something, Alexander, right? What you cannot measure, right? You cannot optimize. And whenever we go into measuring how much energy we use, measuring how long the light is on, right? Measuring what all our installed products are using in terms of energy, right? Then we get the transparency, and then we get the ability to drive this down. You said you're not actively driving behavior, but I really believe, or we do really believe, whenever you get transparency, that helps you helping adapting your behavior. And whenever you use also a little bit of AI, right, in terms of using the energy right, and also using right when you load different systems, that can help really save CO2 and drive down energy use. And I think that is one of our main challenges, where we all have to contribute as manufacturers and really take our fair share. And in order to say, yes, our solutions that we provide are also helping to drive green well-being of our users and help to drive energy efficiency in buildings. Maybe as an opening point here, and then I let my colleagues also comment here.
Yeah, from my side, I think you're totally right. Without any sensor, you cannot see what happened in the building. So I think you need, for building management, to observe the building, you need some sensors to collect some data, manage the data, interpret the data, and take some actions for energy efficiency. And this means also the energy generation in buildings. I think it is also important, not only the efficiency of the building or the building management, but also to have, I think, CO2-free buildings in some years. It's not tomorrow, but in some years, we talk about CO2-free energy production in the buildings, and use this energy locally, not centralized in the windmills, so decentralized energy and usage and also generation. So this means is that we need a kind of minimum, I think, technology, sensors and actors, and this must be balanced because we have this cost or price issue every time, more in the more family houses than in the flats, than in the single family house, but also in the single family house we have this efficiency or cost effectiveness. So I think this is one hand, and every time also with the politics we discuss the new buildings. We have some problems with new buildings because not each building is prepared for the efficiency, for smart homes, for the comfort, for the assistance. The life cycle of this building is more than 40 years. So, and my idea, or the idea of Hager, to prepare each new building, not every time to have a full equipped building probably, but to prepare the buildings for all the applications that in the next 40 years coming. And this is the new building segment, and also the existing buildings we have probably in Germany. We have 70% of the buildings have electrical installation more than 40 or 50 years. So you cannot make smart homes and matter or whatever. You cannot make it with this old installation in old buildings. So here you must go also in the public subvention or renovation way from the European Union. And this is a very big hill that we can or must climb. So it's not only the new buildings and the perfect environment for smart home system, it's also existing building, existing installation. And we have in mind all the buildings in Europe. And therefore we need, I think, this partnership between the minimum the two countries, France and Germany, but also from all other European communities. And we need matter for sure. The consumer electronic systems, it's coming more and more. It's a boost factor also for smart homes, smart building, yes. And as a first step, we need these interfaces between the existing system and matters, and we can go in the future.
You talked about partnership, Mr. Haug. Preparing buildings, preparing infrastructure, it's also preparing the framework. You all mentioned that the legal framework is very important. Hager and Bosch are members of the business initiative Smart Living. Last question from my side. This Smart Living initiative had itself the goal of developing Germany into the leading international market for smart living applications. But France has similar plans. So what chance does Europe have of achieving its goal, and how can Germany and France work together to improve framework conditions for the smart living industry? Maybe Mr. Wetzel, you start, because Bosch is also member of the initiative.
We have to be confident in our strengths. When we take a look on the German and French companies, Legrand here in this round, Schneider, Somfy, Bosch, Siemens, Hager, and I mean, we have worldwide leaders who are able to impact massively the construction and the building technology. So that's why I'm pretty sure that we have a chance to impact the new technologies and to impact the new solutions. We have, and that's why also we try to come together with the Smart Living Initiative, and in France with the SBA. That's in order to join our force, because we are strong companies. Now it's clear that the others from the other side of the Atlantic are also strong companies in a different way, and they are also trying to come from a completely different angle, coming from the software side, the smartphone side, the consumer electronic side, and that's we have to see where we meet. Somewhere in the middle. Mr. Hager mentioned it before, the users will use such kind of device. It's not a question if or not, they will, so that's clear. And now what's the part that we want or we can play, and what's the part they want and they can play? And that's something I would say it's not decided yet from my point of view.
Mr. Weihe, Madame Gland, how would you see, can Germany and France cooperate together to install a framework and to really better the situation for smart living industry?
And for me, it's a bit difficult, because really we have some contacts with the French market, but not really as a player there. So it's very difficult to say. So for me, it's always very interesting to understand what's going on in other countries. And we saw that in the presentation of Mr. Wetzel, that the overall topic is the same, but then there are different perspectives. So for me, it's always very interesting to get the feedback and to learn. But I wouldn't have an opinion on what we can do together.
But I would say, I mean, initiatives like you mentioned, or INES in France, or the Smart Building Alliances in France, they are all good initiatives that really will help to drive, to develop, especially France and Germany. And if we look at the, I mean, the global smart home market, France and Germany alongside UK, I mean, are the biggest market within the European Union for smart homes. And those are good initiatives that can really drive further developments in this. So I'm positive that it makes sense to be part of those and that they will help to propose common policies, regulation, enable and drive the development here.
Well, thank you very much. We'll open now the floor to the questions. There are a lot of questions in the chat. That's very nice. There is one question from Monsieur Zöser. Everybody is expecting something else from his smart home. Everybody understands something else behind smart home. As long as the manufacturers are not all sitting together and will make the products being compatible to connect with all the others, as long as everybody only wants to sell, well, the solutions will not properly. So, well, when will this step happen? It's asking a little bit provocative. Who would like to answer to this question? Mr. Haug.
So
Probably, I think Meta is it's one approach, one common language for everything. But I think it takes time, and to step by step, I think this is for me the best solution. And I think probably the first step is to have every time open systems. And this is for me a key to have an open API for everybody, for startups to have good solutions, and to adapt with services, to have the data, work with the data, and also with other systems. And the approach must be system of systems, and this must be open. And this openness, I think, for me, is the key. Without this openness, we can forget it, and we have closed systems, and the customer it's not satisfied because you cannot adapt with Meta or other things, and therefore I think open system is a key at this stage. Probably we should work together in Europe for to have these kind of open systems, to understand it very well, and then to also talk about with Meta to have probably in 10 years or whatever a common language, but key is open system, open interfaces at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Haug.
Yeah, and
Mr. Wetzel.
And I would add some words. We are already working together. When we see the effort down in the energy sector, for example, it was a bus called EE-bus. When we see the Zigbee standardization, you mentioned Mr. Haug before. I think from Open Doors you spoke. I think from it sounds like a standardization also for on open source. I don't know if I got the message correctly. But there is a lot of initiative where we work together, and it's something it has to grow to become more and more. And we should all keep in mind, for 10 years there was almost no connected solutions on the market. There was some single players, and now in the meantime we discuss now how can we reach the mass market. So it's a huge step in within 10 years, and the standardizations between companies take a long time, and that's something where we are acting, and that's why we are part of the Smart Living Initiative. We are part of the Zigbee Alliance. We are part of the Matter standardization. We are working together. I will say it's coming.
Initiatives to cooperate for interoperability. Matter was a big subject, and of course, Bertrand de Linciu has some concerns. He says this initiative comes from GAFA, and how can we ensure that the biggest value don't go to those GAFA? And he asks because the main point of Matter is the direct compatibility with Smart Home Assistant. So, who would like to answer to these questions? Madame Legland? No, Gland, pas Legland. Madame Gland, how do you're part of Matter, how do you ensure that DAFA don't takes over?
Yeah, and this is always how you see your market environment, right? Do you see everyone as an enemy, or do you see everyone as a friend? And I think honestly, no matter what industry, but also in this one, the times are over that a company can develop on its own the solutions a customer need, right? And this is, we have to think in partnerships, we have to think in that we organize ourselves in initiatives like Meta, in initiatives that we mentioned here today, in order to find the best solution for the customer, the safest solution for the customer, and really develop forward in that direction. I mean, we as Legrand, we work with Google Home, we work with Amazon Alexa, we work with Apple Siri in order to make sure, and our systems are all open, right? So, and we don't want to increase the market entry barriers on purpose in order to provide our customers and our users the best possible experience. And that is an important point for us. Maybe to start the discussion here and to invite other views on that.
Mm.
I would add, we have more domain experience here around the table as the GAFA have. So when you take a look, the best kitchen experience, the best security experience, the best eating experience, the best switch experience, the best energy management experience, are here around this table today. And up to now, the GAFAs have not tried or have not reached this level of experience. So they try to catch the user interface. They try to stay in your smartphone, to be really close connected to the users, to catch the value from the user. The domain expertise and the solutions, the end-to-end solutions, are usually not coming from this kind of companies. And it's still coming from security systems like Verisure, like Bosch, like I don't know, other competitions are coming from the switch suppliers like Legrand or Schneider and so on. So that's why I will say we have to be confident in our strengths. We have some, and that's our market differentiation.
Mr. Haug?
One interesting thing is, for example, here, the smart grid is, I think, it's necessary to have, I think, the energy transition in Germany, in France, in Europe, in also other countries in the world. I think this is a complex system. Smart grid is not easy, and also the grid connection point to the building, to the smart home management or smart building. I think it's not an easy job. It's complex, it's high secure level, and you must respect the smart grid needs, the customer needs, the generation, energy generation and usage and storage and charging station. It's complex. Therefore, we create a standard for this task. This is EBUS, I think, coming from Germany, but also going now in other countries. And this is, I think, a domain, energy management grid connection point, who needs this specific standard. We can say, okay, we use now Matter, then we need all these discussions, this country discussions with Matter. So probably in some years, but today we create this standard to solve the problem, to create a solution, to give also the future-proof system for the customer and also for the different stakeholders. But what we need, for sure, if and this is customer experience, if a customer have a smartphone and use Matter as a communication system, as a visualization, he needs the data from this standard in the Matter system. So we must transfer this data to, for example, to Matter, and the opposite. And this is, I think, the key. But to say we solve all the problems with one standard, I don't think so. Not yet.
So Matter tries to set standards. It's getting together companies to cooperate, and it's a start. So you see the opportunities of this to face the challenge. And Mr. Wetzel, Mr. Haug, Ms. Klang, you are manufacturers. Mr. Weyer is a client. We need also startups. As Mr. Haug has said, not everything gets done by the big companies. We need innovations, we need startups. And that's a perfect bridge now for startups. Because time goes by, and I have to say thank you to you for this very interesting discussion, Madame Glom, Mr. Haug, Mr. Weyer, Mr. Wetzel. Thank you very much for participating in this discussion. Now we have the floor we open the floor for 4 German companies, for startups, who will present their solutions. And I say hello to Dr. Reinhard Wichert from AHS, Assistant Home Solutions. Dr. Wichert, can you please switch on your camera and your presentations? Because we are eager to hear and see what you can offer for smart living.
So hello from my side. So it's a bit complicated with the camera. It does not work, unfortunately. But I will now try to share my screen. So this will be here. And I hope you can see it.
Not yet, but yes, now it's perfect. Thank you.
One moment, there was a mistake. So once more. Okay. Okay, so I will start.
Okay.
Assisted Home Solutions would like to introduce the new smart home controller. It is suited for all areas of life and was designed to assist the inhabitants throughout the whole life. This controller was developed in many field tests in more than 250 homes over the past 5 years. We all feel the request and longing for assistance, from building automation, which we have had the past 40 years, to monitoring, which was received with a lot of enthusiasm, but unfortunately has too little to do with real assistance, and to voice and app control. With a new 4th dimension, we are taking assistance to people's home and satisfy with it even the demand for safety. We are talking about recognition of situations and reacting at the right moment.
Hello. This is your apartment speaking for the following reason. The emergency button has been pressed. A phone call will be made shortly, which please accept if there is no emergency.
We implemented the following fields of applications: the identification of emergencies, the classic light and roller shutter control, in energy-saving applications, and very important safety functions from switching off the cooker to burglar alarm. We therefore provide real assistance for health restrictions. We provide the comfort they are used to. We provide reduction of CO2 emissions and a new user-related level. And we provide the safety through targeted and individual situation-dependent reactions of the home environment. We also would like to see you again as customers. We are aiming at your acceptance. For this reason, there is no cloud. Privacy concerns are our foremost priority. No surprises for the resident, or further some assumptions for the operator, provider, or relatives. We create assistance for all parties involved. Here we are showing the operation principles for situational awareness and the reaction in the area of emergency diagnosis. For example, a fall has been detected by an auxiliary device, for example, a fall detection sensor. The controller informs the resident about the identified critical situation via a voice message. The resident has the opportunity to verify and stop the alarm. If there is no reaction from the resident, the appropriate alarm chain is activated. If a person is able to help, he or she takes the call and can speak directly into the apartment via the controller and thus can communicate safely, react, or open the door depending on the situation. With our controller, the language for communication can easily be changed. Our current basic package is valid for all applications presented here. It can be used in one-room apartment as well as in one compound. It communicates via normal telephone line and can also be connected to any conventional emergency response center via Skype or Clip. Our current product line, together with its individual selected services and auxiliary devices, can be easily installed by qualified electrical companies or home emergency system providers. Our smart home controller turns clients into real partners, from operators and administrative centers to residents and tenants. They all participate. With our individual alarms, we address the demographic change precisely without making things more complicated like others with assumptions, but reducing false positives. We make joint action possible. Contact us. Thank you. We are happy to welcome you as partner.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wischert. So your service provide autonomy and security for older people or people in need to stay home. Thank you very much.
Thanks also.
Now we go on to the next company, Bodo Ehrmann, and I welcome Teodoro Tarantino.
Yes, can you hear and see me?
Yes, Mr. Tarantino.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm gonna share my desktop. Just a second. So can you see my presentation?
Not yet. Unfortunately.
Not?
We don't see it.
Okay, then I'm gonna share. So, but now it should work.
Now it works. Perfect.
Okay. So, yes, thank you very much for having me. And I'm going to show you something about our smart home system, Opus Iq. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Je m'appelle Teodoro Tarantino de l'entreprise Ehrmann. Ravi de vous connaître. I hope that was okay. Well, first about our company. Ehrmann was founded more than 40 years ago, and we produce our high-quality products in Germany. And we are a 100% member of the JF Group. I will explain more about the JF Group in the next slide. We do electrical engineering, construction. We have our own tool making for our plastic injection molding. And of course, we assemble and sell our products. Our core competence is LED lighting, light control, and power distribution. The JF Group is a group of 10 companies, starting from companies who do production and manufacturing. Other companies do distribution and sales. And then we have consulting and installation service. The idea behind that is to provide the full service to the customer from production to installation. I don't know how it is in France, but in Germany, it's very hard to get any electricians. Above, you can see the picture of the production and the warehouse of the JF Group. And this year, we were one of the 100 top innovators in Germany. Now, for our smart home solution, Opus Iq, we use an ocean and 230-volt devices. In this picture, I show you a typical smart Opus Iq installation in a living room. We have controls for lights, for shutters, and for heating. We have several sensors for water or smoke detection, or motion sensors that detects movement of a person and can switch on a light if you enter a room. We have door-window contacts for security. And if this smart home is well planned in a new building, we can get smart home ready at no extra cost. If you do retrofit in a building, it's renovation free because you don't need cables, or you can use existing 200-volt installation. It is easy extendable. You can start with some smaller equipment and make it bigger. It's secure for your personal data, and you can control your devices by app, by speech, or by the classical switches on the wall. So now I'm going to tell you about the concept, the whole concept of Opus Iq. I put on my laser pointer. So first we start here, and the first step, you plan the basic uses. You plan the basic uses for switches, for sensors, heating, light, and shutters. And this already works without any software. Second, you can connect everything with the gateway, which offers you a lot of possibilities, connects you to the internet. And after connecting with the gateway, you can control your devices by speech, by app, or with the classical switches. We are certificated by Apple. That means you can use the Apple HomeKit, but also Alexa or Google works. And if you would like to integrate other devices or other brands, no problem. You can just connect them to the Apple HomeKit or to Alexa, and you can integrate these products also in your home system. If you would like to integrate these devices to the smart building technology, we offer various standards, but also the MQTT protocol, which is a standard. And we already worked with these companies to connect buildings or smart quarters. Why do you use an ocean? We think one of the biggest advantages is the energy harvesting technology by an ocean. That means you don't need any batteries or cables or any other power for most of the products in our range. This example, you see a switch, this one, that produces the energy for sending the radio control just by pushing or pressing the piezo buttons. So it's totally battery free. You don't need a cable. You can glue it on your sideboard however you like. So, and this is how we make a flat smart. We connect the flats to a smart building, and we connect the buildings to a smart city, which also helps to reduce CO2, saves energy, and so on. Now I'm going to show you some already realized projects. Actually, this one in Berlin, it's the Quartier Heidestraße. This is one of the biggest projects we are doing. It's a quarter with living units, shops, offices, and the QH core, that's the name of the building. The first building is already built and it works. The other project we already have done is in Cologne. These are 32 living units plus one kindergarten. And yeah, we're very proud to be involved in such nice and smart projects. That's already everything. They only gave me 5 minutes, so I hope I did it in time. If you need more information, just contact me by email, by phone, or if you would like to see more about our products, you can find some useful links about Opus Smart System, about the building in Berlin, the Quartier Heidestraße. And last but not least is a little video, only 2 minutes, you can watch on YouTube to get more information about our product. I would like to say merci beaucoup, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I'm glad
Thank you.
to,
Thank you, Mr. Tarantino. Thank you very much. And also to the audience, if you are interested in meeting one of the companies that are presenting here, you can contact us or send an information in the chat room. We'll continue with another German company, EQ3. And I welcome Jonas Deike from EQ3 here with us.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Mr. Deike.
So also just trying to share my presentation. Hope that it will work.
Yes, perfect.
It works?
Yes.
Perfect. Trying to have the full size. Okay, ready to start. Yeah, welcome everyone. My name is Jonas Deike. I'm working for the company EQ3, which I'm going to introduce to you. And I'm working there as an international business development manager. So now EQ3 is a relatively big company in smart home, but maybe not that known. So we'll give you a little introduction. Just a second. So first of all, EQ3 is part of the EQ3 and ELV group. It's a family-owned business. We are manufacturing smart home and home automation devices, and we have more than 40 years of experience in electronics development. And the company today has around about 1,000 employees. Our product development takes place in Germany in our R&D department, which you can see on the left side. And we have more than 90 employees in R&D. We are manufacturing many different brands, such as Ekiva, Max, Hometic, and Hometic IP, which is all home automation systems. But we are also very strong in OEM business, working with partners like Lidl, Bosch, the German Telekom, Novo Firm, or Hunter Douglas, equipping them with products or our technology. And our products are produced in our own factory in China, which you can see below. Yeah, to give you some numbers, we have a base of 36 million radio-based products which we sold, and we already equipped 2.5 million households in Germany using some of our smart technologies. In Germany, we have a network of more than 2,000 authorized specialists who do the installation for our customers. As already mentioned, we have an experience in electronics and home automation of more than 40 years. Our product range covers more than 200 products that are available. And we are proud to have a market share in Europe of 35% if it comes to whole home solutions. This number is according to the Berg Insight studies. So I would like to introduce especially our system Hometic IP, which is the most modern smart home solution in our portfolio. Hometic IP is a whole home solution. That means we are trying to cover all aspects of smart home, as there are climate control, access control, light control, shade control, topics like weather and environment, and also security and alarms, all together in one solution. To give you an idea, I will not talk about all our products, but just to give you a picture, our portfolio covers more than 100 products in the Hometic IP product line. So I think there's something to choose for everyone. And now, what makes Hometic IP so unique from our perspective? So we have one of the industry's broadest application portfolio. That means we are not only covering one aspect of smart home, we are trying to cover many solutions and delivering products in different variants for the different needs for the customers. We are strictly following an intuitive and holistic solution concept. So what does that mean? It's already been discussed this morning. Ease of use is one of the most important things for us, for customers as well as installers. It should be fun using our system. And a holistic solution, because we want to make sure that every device you buy from us works as you expect, and you should not have any problems creating rules and so on. So many things are made by the system already for you. Another strong point is our solution is scalable. What does that mean? We offer products that are plug and play, like switchable sockets, so nearly everyone can install. But we also have products dedicated for the professional installation. And that means our solution is suitable for rental apartments, as well as for renovation projects and also for new buildings. As well, we are offering a wireless solution as well as a wired solution, depending on what you need. And a very interesting point, following the discussion about Matter, we are using a future-proof radio technology that is already based on IPv6, because as we started developing Hometic IP, we said IPv6 will be the standard in smart home. And we are more than happy that it seems that Matter is following the same way. So it seems we haven't been that wrong. And a very important point I've also discussed this morning is flexible application and interoperability. It's a very important point. That means we have customized extensions and yeah, we are supplying an open platform technology. So this is yeah, some examples. For sure, we are working with Google Assistant and Alexa. We are connected to IoT platforms like Conrad Connect and Mediola and Home Connect Plus. And Home Assistant, which is an open community product, is another example. This is something we didn't develop ourselves. This is our customer community who did an integration to Home Assistant. So customers can do an integration what they need. So this is not supported by us, but we are happy that our community starts such integrations. So trying to bring the five most important features of Hometic IP at a glance. So first of all, Hometic IP should be the shortest way into smart home, quick and intuitive. Our application is 100% free. We don't have any charges. Second point is security. We have no personal data from you, so we are absolutely anonymous. And for sure, we are following all European data protection directives. Hometic IP technology is award-winning, meaning our solution is the only system that receives an award from VDE, German Association, for its protocol, IT, and data security. Also from AV-Test, German Test Institute, we are awarded the third time in a row for our data protection friendly solution. And our products are winning tests regularly. Another feature is the offline operation. So due to the IP technology, our products are connected to each other directly. That means even if the gateway fails or you don't have any internet connection, our products are still connected to each other and operation goes on. Basic functionalities should work all the time. And we have a fail-safe infrastructure because we don't have a single point of failure. Yeah, and already mentioned, even more possibilities thanks to open interfaces, as mentioned, Alexa, Google Assistant, and diverse IoT platforms are available. So that's it. 5 minutes, it's not a lot of time. So hope to see some of you later in the afternoon. Thanks for listening to me. If you want to learn more about Hometic IP and EQ3, feel free to visit our website, eq3.de, or our hometicip.com website. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Deike, for this full condensed presentation. And we have a last company from Germany. It's called Futureshape, and I welcome Sebastian Stoll for his presentation. Hello, Mr. Stoll.
Yeah,
Dr. Steinhage.
thank you so much. My colleague Axel
Yes.
will take care. So thank you for that.
Okay. Yes. Bonjour à tous. I hope you can see my screen here. Is it right?
Yes, it's
Yes.
perfect.
Very good. So yes, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this session here. And I would like to introduce the company Futureshape, same as the companies before, EMAN and EQ3. We are also not really a startup. As you can see here, we were founded in 2005 already. So we have over 15 years of experience, and we were, let's say, one of the first companies really on the domain of ambient assisted living. So this is about assisting people in their living environment, residence, but as you will see later, also in healthcare, smart living, and we have also products in retail, multimedia, and security. You can see here the management. Sebastian Stoll was already mentioned. Then there is Chris Lauterbach, who was actually the founder of Futureshape, and me as the CTO. So among other products that we have, I would like to concentrate in my 5 minutes talk on 3 products that we have. That's SenseFloor Care, SenseFloor Gate, and SenseFloor Live. And as you can see, there's always floor in the names. So basically, our main product is sensitive floor. So we tried from the beginning on to make the floor in an apartment or in a public environment being accessible for finding out about the status and the behavior of residents in a room. In SenseFloor Care, which is more linked to the nursing homes and the stationary nursing homes mainly, we can do by means of the floor, fall detection and alarms, fall prevention as well, activity monitoring, monitoring the health state, as you will see later some examples, and we can also help doing the care documentation. In SenseFloor Gate, which is more linked to the hospital domain, we can help the doctors and the medical personnel there to assess the health status of people by recording their gait patterns, by analyzing their velocity, the walk basically. And in SenseFloor Live, which is probably the most interesting for this discussion here, in SenseFloor Live, we do basically the same, but in the private domain. So we can do fall detection and alarm, fall prevention, but also detect inactivity and also analyze daily routines, as you will see later in the examples. But before, I would like to give you an impression what the SenseFloor is really all about. It's basically a textile underlay with built-in wireless capacitive sensor electronics that were developed by us, and we also in Germany near Munich, we manufacture and produce this very textile underlay. So it's all in our hands, all in Futureshape's hands. So we can install under any type of flooring. I mentioned capacitive sensors. So that means we are not based on pressure, but on proximity, like the screen of your mobile phone. And that's why we are able to go under any flooring, from tiles to carpet to vinyl, but also wooden flooring. We can measure the number, velocity, gait pattern, and also the walking direction of people in a room. And by that, we can discover hazards and accidents like falls, inactivity, but also building automation functions like water leakage or intrusion we can discover. And last but not least, we can control lights, heating, automatic doors. So these are the classical building automation functions that we can serve based on the sensors in the floor. We are compatible with any domotic system, so we can connect and have done that in the history already to KNX and all the other well-known building automation systems. And the most important thing is, as we go underneath the floor covering, our system is invisible. So you cannot really see any boxes on the walls or any cameras. And as it's not mechanical based, it is also robust. The applications in public and private homes, I have picked a few of those. Basically, when it comes to care, you all know that we are in a demographic change, more elderly people in Western Europe at least, but also in the US and in the Asian domain as well. So there's a big challenge when it comes to lack of care personnel. So this can be solved by ambient assistance living systems like ours, because we can do a 24/7 surveillance of people needing assistance, not only in private homes, but as I mentioned before, also in nursing homes, for example. There we can also optimize the workflow and documentation, and all in all make the let's say make the working conditions more attractive to attract more people going into that profession. So this is not the only thing, but of course you can imagine that by the functions that are already mentioned, we can increase the comfort, the security, and also save energy in any building automation application. This was mentioned before as well, also in the last talk from IQ3. It is really important to secure and to take care about the data of the customers. And we took that very seriously within our gateway, which you can see here, which we developed ourselves. The data about the customers is stored on place, not in the cloud, not in the internet, but exactly there in that gateway. And by the measurement principle, we cannot really identify people, but their behavior only. So we don't use images or things like that, but only we look at data that is really important to assist people, like detecting faults or things I have mentioned before. The system is based on distributed embedded devices, so there's no central server or cloud representation, and the updates, which are possible remotely as well through the internet, can only arrive on customers' requests. So that's why we take this very seriously. And Mr. Wetzel, in his talk from Bosch, in his keynote, he has mentioned a lot of things like that must be fulfilled, a lot of requirements for modern building automation systems. And that is basically energy management. He mentioned also security and privacy, but also comfort, and last but not least, ease of use. And as you can see here on that ground plan, by means of the floor sensor, you can serve a lot of these functions like fall alarms or out of bed alarm, inactivity, automatic light switching, intruder or runaway alarm, water leakage, presence related HVAC, so heating, ventilation and air condition control, automatic doors, and we can all do that by means of remote maintenance, as I have mentioned before, if the customer likes that. Here are some of the installations we have done so far. So you see a lot of those are in France. For example, you see that EHPAD du Val de Moder in Pfaffenhofen, that's in Alsace, and this was one of the first installations in 2012, which we equipped fully with SenseFloor, all the 70 rooms in that nursing home. But we have other installations all over the world, like in Australia, in some dementia flat sharing community, but also in private homes like in Bad Griesbach in Germany, and also some installations in the domain of multimedia on cruise ships, and also in the domain of retail. You see that Kick shop here, which we equipped with 500 square meters of SenseFloor to track customers and their behavior. Yes, and this is already the last slide, because I have only 5 minutes. What we aim through this conference here is that we are looking for partners with experience in building automation, because we are the sensor provider. We have some software as well, but we have to integrate into other systems, and that's what we are aiming at. But we are also looking for architects, owners, investors in building automation integrators with interest in the latest smart home technology, and last but not least also researchers and development people. I know there are some in the audience as well, and we have already made contact, for example, to the university in Brest and to the Paris University, and we have delivered products of us there for doing more research in the domain of building automation and also in the domain of healthcare. So we have 15 years of experience, and also like Ehrmann, we are one of the top 100 innovators in 2020 in Germany. Et nous parlons aussi français grâce à ma femme français. J'essaie de parler français un peu. C'est possible, si vous avez des questions en français, je peux essayer de les répondre. Merci.
Thank you, Dr. Steinhage. So, with a French wife, you will live intercultural differences every day. Thank you to Futureshape, to EQ3, Bodo Ehrmann, Assistant Home Solutions, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested to meet with one of those companies, please let us know. It's possible in the next 2-3 days. We heard in the first roundtable that interoperability is a big issue for the smart living market. So another challenge is data security and governance. So now I would like to welcome Mr. Emmanuel François, who's the president of the Smart Building Alliance.
Good
Hello,
morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Tag.
Thank you for being with us. Yeah. So you're the president of the Smart Building Alliance, and this is an industry association which was founded in 2012 and now comprises over 500 members. And the initiative aims to promote a balanced and clear collaborative ecosystem for the entire smart living sector. We are very happy that you're with us, and we're looking forward to your keynote. How can cloud and edge resources be combined for sovereign data management and usage? Mr. François, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Ich bin sehr froh, hier zu sein, diese Topic zu reden. Je suis très heureux d'être ici pour parler de ce sujet de la data governance. But first, and I thank you for this invitation. First, I would like to go back to a fundamental about data. I think we still too much think that digital is an addition to our society, an addition to our way of living, a new functionality in the organization of society. And actually, I want to highlight and to underline that something has changed, and especially with the COVID situation. Digital is a key point of our society, is a key part, an integrated part of our society. And I think we shouldn't forget it. We shouldn't forget it because it's a major change in the organization of our society. I would say it's as important as the invention of writing 5,000 years ago. And if we don't understand that, I think we can make major mistakes. As example, today, when you speak about digital, it means transversal, it needs network, it means collective intelligence, it means decentralized. But today we are more organized in silo. We are more centralized with pyramidal organization. And we try to rethink the world of tomorrow with glasses of yesterday, since the world has changed. As Gabriel said, all our activities have changed. Walking, moving, teaching, training, health, and so on. So since all our activity is changing, our society is also changing, and we need to rethink the organization of our society, of the enterprise also. And talking about governance of data means talking about governance of our society. I think it's a major evolution. We cannot treat as a simple evolution by just adding a new functionality. And I have well listened to Gabriel Wetzel, who mentioned the German example of the smart meters. It's very interesting. Why? Because actually France started more than 15 years ago to rethink the electrical smart meter. At this time, there were only one technology, cloud. And that means the electrical meter is just meant in cloud. If you ask to have data in real time to EDF without adding an accessory, it's just impossible. Because it's cloud and it's not meant also in edge. So the data are in cloud. And also it poses problems to the citizens who said, where are the data? What is this company doing with our data? What kind of confidentiality? What security? Of course, there are a lot of security and confidentiality, but this is the problem in each mindset. Where are my data? And I'm quite sure that if we in France would deploy right now a meter and not 15 years ago, it will be different. And it's maybe interesting to see how Germany will deploy its meter. And I think it's a good example to show and to demonstrate this problem between cloud and edge, silo organization, centralized organization, whereas digital is more transversal, so not in silo, and decentralized. And it's a problem today of maturity. Because today we speak about interoperability, about security, and to answer to these questions, the first solution, like the electrical meter in France, but all the smart home or smart building solutions have also been made vertical and secured. And the interoperability was meant first with protocols or with cloud connection. Gabriel Wetzel spoke about partnership. But at the end, the solution needs to be scalable. And we speak about services, but there are services we know today, but there are services we don't know tomorrow. That's the reason why the solution needs to be scalable. And partnership cloud to cloud are not sufficient. And the unique language is not sufficient enough also. Of course, we spoke about matter, I understood, and it's a good thing. But what is matter? It's just convergence over IP. Convergence over IP. That's what the IT industry did 30 or 35 years ago. At this time, there were a lot of protocols, but within a few years, there has been chosen one protocol, IP. And that's exactly what we are pushing at SBA. We are saying it needs to be an IP convergence with a digital infrastructure, a unique digital infrastructure, not several digital infrastructure in silo, one for the electrical meter, one for security, one for assisted living, one for lighting, and so on. No. And first, it's not sustainable. We cannot afford that. We saw that today we have shortage of components. We have also problem with carbon footprint. So that means we cannot now anymore afford to have silo organization, silo approach. We need to have a common approach, a unique approach. Of course, if you speak about language, matter is a language, but behind that, you need to have also a digital infrastructure, unique infrastructure with convergence of all the system, of the solution. And these go much more behind a unique language. We speak here about APIs, how the systems exchange data and are connected. So application programming interface, that means when there is a solution, the APIs need to be known. We need the integrator need to know the APIs, needs to be documented. And this is a key point. And this is a crucial point. I see that Legrand was here. Legrand becomes to the first player within SBA, which gives its APIs in the free, so that it's open. I think it's a major issue. And why I'm speaking about APIs? Because it's access to the data. And we are speaking about digital. As soon as we speak about digital, we speak about services. And the value of a building, the value of a product, the value of a functionality is not related in the product, on the service, in the solution itself, is related in the service. And for this service, you need to have access to the data. So the data is a common good. And I will say here, the first common good of a smart home, a smart building, a smart city is the data and the digital infrastructure to enable the collection of this data. And now we need to work together, France and Germany and Europe, to have a common digital infrastructure, secured, sustainable, and also controlled, because the data needs to be controlled. The user, the citizen, needs to have confidence in this data. And it's a key point. It's a major point. I go back to, again, to convergence and protocol. I listened to the presentation. People were speaking about several protocols. And at the end, if I'm user, it's again a mixed match. I don't understand. People are speaking about Zigbee, Bluetooth, KNX, Enocean. And where is the convergence? Actually, the convergence is there. It's IP. And all these protocols now have an IP convergence. With IoT connectors, we convert the protocol, standard protocol, to IP. And Matter is a other language. So I think there is no problem today in language as soon as you select standards. But there is now another thing to work on, is the data governance. Where are my data stored? Some speak about cloud, others speak about edge. Actually, we go to a hybrid society, hybrid solutions. It will be not only cloud, it will be not only edge. But most of the data needs to be stored in edge, locally. It's very important. It's very important for the user. It's very important for the citizens to know that their data are there in their home, in the building, collective building for homes, in the district, in the city, in the territory. That means all these data, not only related to the smart home, but global. And why is it important? For three reasons. One is, first, energy consumption. If everything is in cloud, that energy consumption is very high. And the CEO of Microsoft is the first to say that. We need to go to much more edge solution. The second solution is to have a global overview and mutualization. That means we need to be aware of data locally and to be able to connect this data on a global solution for specific purpose, energy management, for instance, or water management, or health management, or space management, or security management. And that's the reason why I say, of course, it needs to be edge, but you need to have interface from one local center or one local operating system to another. That's exactly the organization of the IT. It was centralized 40 years ago, And now it's decentralized, but decentralized doesn't need, it's isolated. It's in network. And that's the second point. If it's in network, then it's more resilient, it's more secure. If I have a problem, I have always my data saved somewhere else. So that's another point I wanted to highlight. And the last point is privacy. Privacy is highly important, as I said, because we will not have this digital transition without confidence. And without confidence of any user, any citizens. And for this, they need to know that their data are stored somewhere locally, and they can have access, and they can be the only one to have access. And if they want to share their data, they will ask a third trust party, which will contract with service operator to operate services. It's fully the opposite of what is running today. You have service operator for electrical car charging, for energy management, for healthcare, for comfort, for security, which provide a service and take the data. This is the old mode. This is finished because it will not work at all at the end, because we need to have this interconnection in a real time. And to enable this interconnection in a real time, data needs to be stored locally with rules and security.
Where is the data? Where is my data? Yeah, where is the unique digital infrastructure? You raised some very important issues, and thank you for your call on security and sustainable.
At the end, we are speaking about operating system of the building, of the city, of the territory, and that's what we will talk about in the conference. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Francois. And thank you especially for your call, your passionate call for the cooperation between France and Germany for the secured sustainability and the control. Where's my data? We will talk about that in the next roundtable. But first, we have the chance to hear again some companies from Germany who will present their solutions. So I will call Mr. Philipp Schockenhoff from Critics for his presentation.
Yes.
Hello, Mr.
Thank you,
Schockenhoff.
Alexandra. Hi, pleasure to be here. Thank you for kindly introducing me. Let me share my screen, and then I'm just about to start in a second. We've been talking a lot, especially my preceding speakers, about the interoperability of local energy assets, about the energy infrastructure. And I'm quite happy, or Critics is quite proud to claim that we have such a solution in order to enhance the interoperability of local distributed energy resources. What Critics is actually providing is our Xenon platform as a service to large international utilities, grid operators, energy retailers, OEMs, and these customers or these clients of ours build their own sustainable energy products on our platform. And the entire purpose of our platform is to have impact against climate change, which is why we are not focusing on local assets like shutters or fridges, but really on these assets that have an impact against climate change, like heat pumps, PV panels, EV charging stations, wind turbines, etc. And as I said, our two founders have actually foreseen the issue of the interoperability in 2016, and they have founded Critics with the purpose to make the entire energy infrastructure into one holistic language, which is why we are integrating all sorts of OEM appliances like EV charging stations, heat pumps, PV inverters, battery inverters, and provide our platform to our partners, which they can access and speak to all those access or to these local appliances without having the need to integrate their proprietary interfaces. We are currently between 70 and 80 employees, and we have 2 offices in Aachen and Munich. As I said, what we are doing is we integrate local distributed energy resources. These can be charging stations for electric vehicles, wind turbines, heat pumps, PV inverters, battery storages, but also signals from grid operators and, for instance, flexible time of use tariffs, etc. And we accumulate all this information in our grid box, in our local edge appliance, which channels all this information and can push it through our API to our partners in order for our partners to have their own software optimization or their own front ends. But we can also push it to our own cloud, to our Xenon platform, where we provide our partners with software optimizations like self-sufficiency optimization, grid protection, but also, for instance, grid congestion management and others. Because we are hardware as well as software agnostic, we can provide our experiences and our technologies to a broad scope across the entire energy markets. For instance, our partners offer their products to future energy home or to private residential house owners who want to optimize their self-sufficiency in terms of that they consume their self-generated PV electricity. We provide charge point operators who are keen to install 20 or 30 charging stations on a constrained grid connection point without having the need to expand it, and especially to also involve the grid operator, because these high peak loads of charge points obviously have a large impact on the 20 or 30-year-old grids that are still being operated across Europe. We can aggregate future energy homes to smart city districts to not just make single households autark, but entire city districts autark with a combined heated power aggregate in the middle. And we can also aggregate, for instance, end customers for peer-to-peer trading purposes to involve like flexibility trading or flexibility or secondary control energy markets here in order to send signals for demand response, and also grid operator, as I said, to curtail peak loads. This may be a bit cryptic, so let's jump into a couple of use cases with our partners. One of our partners is, for instance, Viessmann, Germany's largest HVAC OEM. And Viessmann also figured out that it makes no sense to sell products like heat pumps, but OEMs and also energy utilities need to sell holistic solutions and experiences to their end customers in order to make the fight against climate change a success. So what Viessmann is selling today, and what we enhanced Viessmann to actually achieve, is that they can ship the grid box, our local control unit in the Viessmann branding, to the end customer. And the grid box steers all sorts of appliances, not only the Viessmann heat pump, but PV panels, EV charging stations, battery storages from manufacturer independent sources, and collects all this information in one single software optimization, such that the self-sufficiency is optimized across the interoperability between all those different manufacturers, and the Viessmann end customers share their electricity among each other in a peer-to-peer trading scheme instead of feeding it into the grid for 6 cents and even constraining the grid even more. And for Viessmann, it's especially crucial because the end customers have a smartphone app where they can immediately interact with their setup, and hence Viessmann has a constant interface to the end customer through which they can send cross and upselling information. A second partnership of ours is with E.ON, Europe's largest energy supplier. And E.ON is actually selling EV charging infrastructures to the end customers, and we provide them with the smart charging software, which means that we balance the peaks of these EV charging stations. Again, the end customers of E.ON can install not only one brand of EV charging stations, but can pick from 20 or 30 different EV charging stations, OEMs, and can integrate also PVs and batteries in order to further enhance the self-sufficiency and the autarky of this setup. The grid operator is also involved to send signals to curtail peak loads, and E.ON is currently bringing this Critics-enabled solution to 11 European countries and wants to scale further, of course, also. And yeah, so I'm not sure how the time has passed, but since it's a quite complex product, I'm always happy to receive your questions. Send me an email, schedule for a call, and we can figure out how we can complement the product portfolio of yours as well.
Thank you, Mr. Schockenhoff.
Sure, pleasure.
Yes, and now we go on to the company in-house, and I welcome Enrico Lörke.
Hello, thank you for your friendly introduction. Welcome to everyone. I would like to present something about in-house and our solution. So first of all, I try to share my screen. So now it should be possible to see my presentation. So
Yes.
First of all, I want to introduce in-house. In-house is emerged from the Fraunhofer In-house Center in 2003 and has developed into a long experienced provider of innovative assistant and smart home solutions. Based on our many years of project-specific experience and our cooperation with application partners from the care sector, we're able to offer solutions with components from manufacturers, individualized with our software, by our software applications for our customers, and integrated total solutions for assistive care properties and modern, comfortable residential properties are the two business areas of the in-house. So that's what you see on that chart. We have both sides. At the left part, we have the private houses and residential complex, and at the right side we have care properties, and that are the two areas we are working for. And you see at the written behind down the pictures, the core competences are smart homes and ambient assisted living, and we have a combination with many years of experience in that both areas. So first of all, I want to have a look with you into projects within two charts. And the first one is the Dementia shared apartments. And our system solutions are based on radio-based components. So they are radio-based solutions. And for us, it doesn't matter if there's a new construction building, a renovation, or an existing building. Here we can see an existing building. So we have some components like door sensors, activity sensors, some night lights, and so on. That's just for example. And the idea is that with the second part, it's service and assisted living. It's a new construction building and the same. And the idea is to have the highest flexibility of for retrofitting, renovation, or new construction. And all the system solutions can be integrated, implemented in any property, and nearly any property. And our customers can decide which solution meets their requirements. So it's flexible mountable, battery operated, hardwired with no battery operation, or hybrid solutions. If we have a look at the values of functionalities, at first we have the automatic system detection, or the situation detection, better state, without emergency buttons and without cameras, only based on everyday activities or behavior. And it's combined with a call signaling for time-sensitive support needs. For example, nightly unrest, getting out of the bed, by risk of falling, walking tendencies, and so on. The second part is the derivation of trends and progressions. And here, for our customers, there are possibilities to get an idea of daily activities, of daily behaviors within one visualization. So it's especially interesting for outpatient assisted living and the assessment of care needs. So there's a possibility for an adaptation of care and support. The third is predicting activities of daily living or predicting support needs by artificial intelligence. First of all, I have to say our system solution is not a cloud-based system solution. So we are talking about not artificial intelligence. We are more talking about machine learning. So the idea is that the daily activities or activity of daily living can be learned by the software and can predict daily routines or can predict daily activities. So that's mainly important for the care staff, for adaptation of care and support, and do preventive care. And the last one you can see is smart home. And so we are talking about useful smart home functionalities. So regarding our experience, long experience since 2003 for residential homes, private homes, and really complex smart home solutions, we are able to realize everything in the smart home functionalities. But in our opinion, it's not necessary, or better said, no technology because of technology. So that's the reason why I'm talking about useful smart home functionality. So it's tailored to the needs, and we are talking about safety, sustainability, comfort, and so on. And so I would like to give you an idea, one solution for all sectors, if we regard the ambient assisted living areas, so to say. So it's possible for service assisted living, dementia, shared ambulatory care, and the other one. So one solution for all sectors. And last but not least, we received an award this year from the German Smart Home Initiative for the best project in Germany, and that was in dementia shared building. So if there are some questions or some interesting to talk to us, please don't hesitate to contact us, or maybe there's a chance for us to talk about later. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lurke. We proceed to the next company, is Co2 Home. And I welcome Christopher von Gumpenberg from Co2 Home for his presentation. Hello, Mr. von Gumpenberg.
Hello, thank you so much. I will also share my screen. And then I hope you will see. Yes. So yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for having me. Also, we are not so traditionally in a smart home space. We are more in the energy space, but also very closely related to the building and smart living in buildings. And our solution is based, and this is like the headline tries to sum it, like to achieve CO2 neutrality in existing buildings. So how do we get the whole goals we have until 2050? How do we achieve them? My name is Christopher Krutner. I'm one of the two founders and managing directors of Co2. The company exists, is not that old. We started in 2018. We are headquartered in Berlin, and we are around 33 employees, so a little above 30. We doubled last year, so we also have a big growth for this year planned. And in which space we are, so our customers are usually in the energy sector, so like utility companies, and also in the housing space. So we have like the German part of Covivio, for example. We did projects here in Germany. We have TRG, so one of the big housing companies, but also like property managers, anyone who operates buildings. So like I said, there's two major challenges for the whole industry in the real estate and especially in the residential and the living space. On the right-hand side, we have the CO2 goals. So we have until 2030, we have to reduce 60% of energy to reach those. And yeah, most of the companies say it's somewhere between 2045 to 2050 to be CO2 neutral. This is a big challenge because renovating or just constructing new buildings is not possible. We have to renew heating systems. We have to think about where to invest our money best in order to get the biggest effect. The second part is, of course, that how do we use digitalization to optimize heating systems, how to collect all this energy data from buildings. And a study here showed that more than 70% said it is somehow not yet in place. We need something and some solutions for that. And we basically offer a solution exactly for that. So we have what we are offering is basically an energy data platform. So how do we get the data from the buildings and further on to our customers. And we want to revolutionize the way people handle energy data in order to achieve this efficient and sustainable future. In Germany, and as I heard as well in the morning, but also in the last weeks in preparation for this meeting today, there's a lot of regulation coming in order to support the energy transition, and basically companies have to comply with it, and also they have to use that now in order to drive this energy transition, this reduction of CO2. It is also coming into the CO2 tax. We come with the green bonds, the Green Deal on the EU side. It's putting a lot of pressures on companies. And what we are having is like an IoT software as a service. So we have parts in the building, so like gateways, etc. I come to this in a second, how it works exactly. But we have also a lot of experience how to collect data, how to make the system up and running. We have the solution is basically really focusing on meters, so not so much more installation. So we're very efficient, modular build, and fast to implement. Who are the customers? I said energy companies and housing companies, but like we see that that energy data is not so much relevant anymore for only maybe tenants or for some technical departments in some companies. We see that it goes all the way from the top management who need the ESG reporting. We need asset management. What are the decisions for next year to save, to really drive energy efficiency? The property management, of course, has all these kind of processes around billing and heat cost billing and how to make the consumption-based billing. So you see in real estate companies now energy is coming to a major driver in all over the departments. Energy companies, of course, traditionally already have access to energy data. So how can we add heat and water, which has not been so traditionally sometimes in their portfolio? And now the platform, what we are offering for these companies, we basically offer modules. So companies come to us and say, okay, we want to start with the billing. We have a problem with our service providers. We want to replace them or do it ourselves. So they get a software and a platform where they can do the heat and water cost billing themselves, being more efficient, earning additional money, and being more direct contact to the customer, to the customers, to the tenants. We have topics like the digital boiler room, which is more related to like central heating systems, where you have a contracting space where you digitize and make it more automatically how your central heating system is running. CO2 monitoring, if we have a lot of gas meters, we can predict how much CO2 you're using for this year. We can prepare this data for the ESG reporting and take it basically as a basis for decisions in the whole, where to invest, how much, I do, for example, a measurement in a building, I do the renovation, I want to know, the good target is 20% energy efficiency, energy savings, and are we really achieving this? These are like the topics we are doing, and companies coming with the different problems to us, starting with one most of the time, and then after 1-2 years, we already see that our product portfolio usually, expands very quickly within the companies, because they take us then as the central energy data platform for all their processes, for all their use cases. Looking a little bit on how the solution is working, we have like the ecosystem starts with the property, right? Like we have properties of our customers. We see there we have all the meters, so heat meters, electricity meters, gas meters, but also heat cost allocators and water meters in apartments. We collect them, the data. Most of the times they're radio meters. So LoRa is one of the radio standards, or WM-bus. So wireless M-bus. So we are collecting them with our gateways and only transferring them. So there has a little bit of an edge technology that we can filter, and we can say what the gateway, how many times it wakes up and transmits data. But then we have the portal, and our Co2 portal is basically then the central part of the whole solution, where all the modules are based in. where the master data from the ERP systems, apartments, tenants, etc., coming, and on the other side coming with the moving data from the gateways. And then we have solutions how we can interact with the tenants. So with the app, so we have an app and also web app, etc., where we can basically interact with the tenant, give them the consumption data so that they can react on how much energy they are using and react on the savings. So you basically take the tenant now in the equation of the whole use case. On the other side, of course, the whole service app, so the guys at the maintenance and the people going in the apartment also have a service app. We, as a platform provider, we are very open to partners, and this is also something what we are looking into. If we talk about the French market, that we have already some partners in Germany who basically got onto our use case. Some others we are providing solutions where we take them to the customer, but also we can be taken as well as like the basis for all these energy data management. So we are looking for these partners. We are trying to expand them. We're very open for them and want to grow that, and maybe also grow into the French market. So if you want to digitize the building infrastructure and make the processes more efficient, let's take the way together. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. von Gumpenberg. And now we move on to our last German company, with TCS, Türkontrollsysteme. I welcome Christoph Krutner.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Seidelauer. Thanks. Let me just get my presentation up and running.
Yeah, we already see it.
You can see it?
Yes.
Fantastic. So, hello, bonjour to everyone. My name is Christoph Krutner. I'm head of sales at TCS. And I have the pleasure to give you a short overview on our company and our product portfolio and how we as an intercom specialist see and define smart living. So first of all, who are we? We are a company that develops and produces and sells intercom and access control solutions. We are a family business founded 26 years ago with our headquarters, which is located in Genthin, Germany, which is roughly about 80 kilometers east of Berlin. And with our 350 employees spread across Germany and our international locations in Europe and in Asia, we are both a specialist in electronics manufacturing, but also in metal processing. So this differentiates us a little bit maybe from other manufacturers and enables us to offer high quality customized entrance solutions in different materials and also in different surfaces. Our portfolio is quite comprehensive. It consists of audio and video intercom solutions with the ability to connect these to a cloud for mobile door communication applications. Secondly, access control and CCTV video cameras. Thirdly, orientation and signage solutions, so such as door plates, name and information plates with engravings and lighting. And fourthly, also individual entrance solutions, which basically integrate all of the aforementioned functions, so video, access control, communication. And last but not least, also some vertical system solutions with which we address very specific markets and specific building communication applications. Now, what is our understanding of smart living and smart home? Well, for us already, smart living already starts basically at the outside facade. Because it's not only a architectural hotspot, it is also a multifunctional part of the building, which integrates various functions for security, for surveillance, for communication, for information and also for safekeeping letterboxes, packages, and such. We as TCS offer turnkey solutions for these entrances. Now, thirdly, smart living from our point of view is also, and it came out already in some of the presentations, is expressed through comfort and also through security. And thanks to mobile cloud applications, door communication, access control, and surveillance can be done completely remotely. By integrating into third-party home automation systems, various home automation features can be done from a single video indoor panel. For example, door calls can be answered and recorded. Power consumption can be displayed. Lighting, shading, and room temperature can be controlled. Doors and gates can be opened and monitored over the panel. Also, pressing an outside doorbell can, for example, activate lighting or a camera. But digitization also offers great value and advantages to housing associations, to facility managers, property managers, as they have the possibility to manage and assign access rights, but also names remotely to letterboxes, to apartments by using digital name displays. Housing associations can furthermore offer services for their tenants by giving them access to certain cloud services or by displaying certain information for the tenants on digital notice boards inside the building. Implementing a smart home solution does not necessarily require an investment into a complete new system. Also, existing systems can be equipped and made intelligent. We have a so-called smart slot solution here, which can be equipped, allowing a direct connection with the cloud, and also using remote door communication applications. Or you could also use this to transmit data via radio or to control third-party actuators, like shutters, for example. Finally, you see a device next to the indoor station on the left. This is something that we call the hidden socket. So it is not just a socket, but it is also a switching device for smart lighting. We have, as part of the Friends Hue Foundation, we are here offering a remote smart lighting switch to the Friends Hue system. Of course, this could also be used for other kind of protocols or purposes. And yeah, I think this was a quick overview on some of the possibilities in the area of smart intercom. I think there's a great proverb. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think this is in particularly true for smart living. Due to the variety and complexity of the systems. So we also, as a manufacturer, need to be able to create value for the customer by offering open systems and cooperations and partnerships with potential partners. So therefore, please reach out if you're interested. I will be happy to answer some questions this afternoon or in the next couple of days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Krutner. You said smart living applications don't start only in the house, but even outside of the house. That made me think of a little city south of Paris, Longpont-sur-Orge. From 11 to 5 at night, the lights in the streets are off. And if you are an inhabitant and you want to go out at night, you have to illuminate with your smartphone the city lights. That's another application of smart living in the city. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one question here from Dr. Maximilian Wernicke, from Mr. von Gumpenberg, Co2 Home. Mr. Gumpenberg, how do you optimize heating system efficiency? Do you generate recommendations for the owner to improve system settings? And are you able to remotely control the boiler and pumps? Mr. von Gumpenberg.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. So there are actually two ways of doing that. If we look for a residential building, we usually don't equip like a lot of equipment and reading. So we read the meters, and then we generate with an algorithm a recommendation how to optimize it. This could be very easy settings like the summer shutdown, right? Like the summer the heating should be off, in the night it should be dropping to a certain degree, so we can detect this only by reading the meters. So this would be like we have like 8 to 10 of these recommendations to save, let's say, with going to the facility manager or someone to change the settings, save to like 5 to 10%, 8 to 10% energy. If we are looking for more complex systems, like I don't know, we have photovoltaic and we have a huge assembly of buildings served by one heating system, then we really go into the control. Usually we do this with partners. So we identify these buildings and then we do the partners and then come and then we really remote control it. So two ways of doing it, depending on the use case, depending on the building type, depending on budget, etc.
Thank you, Mr. von Gumpensberg. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard 8 presentations of 8 German companies with innovative solutions and products. If you are interested to meet them, please let us know. There you can meet and discuss with them in the next couple of days. Don't hesitate to contact us. Now we'll move on to our second discussion panels. We heard cybersecurity is a big issue, and what are the central conditions to build a safe data ecosystem for smart living? I welcome again back Emmanuel François, the president of the Smart Building Alliance. Another participant is Jeremy Belek, the CEO of Spinalcom. Hello.
Hello.
Dominique Romus, CEO of the Gaia X Association. Hello, Mr. Romus. And Mr. Dörstel, the Global Building Solution General Manager of ABB Busch Jaeger Electro. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in this discussion round. We have heard the introduction note of Emmanuel François with a big call for cooperation, but also the central question and concern of the users. Where are my data? Where is it stored? Where is the unique digital infrastructure? Mr. Dörstel, let's start with you. When thinking of forming a safe data ecosystem for smart living in particular, what requirements and challenges do you see?
Yeah, thank you for putting this question on the table. I see 3 different hurdles, and my feeling is that in the discussions we had so far, all these hurdles were already addressed. So let me summarize my view. So hurdle 1 is that the market is very fragmented. Hurdle 2 is the ownership and use of data, and last but not least, hurdle 3, what I see is cybersecurity. Yeah, let me explain. Fragmented market means no company or organization has at the moment the power to set a standard or an ecosystem. The market is very fragmented. We have different silos and islands in the market which are very specific, like
We have islands around application areas like entertainment, communication, security, energy management, door communication, electrical infrastructure, and renewables. We have islands or silos around vendor-driven approaches. We already strive this GAFAM. Samsung is another vendor, Bosch, Fissmann, Schneider, Miele, ABB. We all have our own ecosystems. And last but not least, we have also some initiatives. We already heard about them, which are trying to create an open ecosystem, but also these open ecosystems are not interoperable. That is what I think is one big hurdle. The second is the ownership and use of data. For me, it is clear that from the beginning on, it must be clear who is the owner of the data and who can use the data. And we have normally in residential buildings, but in all kind of buildings, we have different types of data. We have data which normally stay in the home, and we have data which will be anonymized, and anonymized data can be stored in data ponds or data lakes, often handled by big players. This data will be visible and be used by, for example, utilities, providers, etc. And for me, the owner of the not anonymized data is always the end user. And in the European Union, this means that we have to follow the GDPR rules. In a global context, we have different terms and conditions and also different understanding and legal frames. So that is the second hurdle which I see. And last but not least, cybersecurity. In a multi-vendor environment, all partners must follow the same cybersecurity guidelines and rules. A chain is only as strong as the weakest link. This means all smart living companies which are participating in an ecosystem must follow the same strong rules, independent if they offer hardware, software, or services. Today, it is a huge effort to analyze and guarantee the cybersecurity, especially in multi-vendor solutions. And that is what I see as hurdle, or what I named hurdle 3, cybersecurity. And that are the things which we have to overcome to form common ecosystems for smart living.
Oh, so users will ask, where is my data? The hurdles that you mentioned are very big. Fragmented ecosystem, the ownership, the cybersecurity. Mr. Belek, you're the co-founder and CEO of Spinalcom and the pioneer in building operation system. How do you see the situation? What conditions must be fulfilled to build a safe and trusted data infrastructure?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I would say that many people talks about cloud and cloud and cloud, and I think that Emmanuel talks about it. You can store your data not only in the cloud. I mean, there is also a large number of distributed way to store, to manage, and to control the data. For example, you have this edge computing or fog computing, which means that data is not only in the cloud and managed in the cloud. Data can also be managed at the edge, which means inside the building directly. And there is a big difference between, well, there are many differences between owning the data and being in control of the data. A big subject today is that the people who owns the data, which are, for example, the citizen and so on, their data, but they don't control their data. I mean, these data are controlled by other companies, other yes, by some companies, and the regulation is here to manage this divergence between who owns the data and who controls the data. But you can also manage this by building new kind of architecture, where data is not only managed in the cloud and can be also managed at the edge, controlled at the edge by other kind of company that will manage and save the data at the edge. A big question, if you like, is what is a personal data? And well, I heard many companies talking about energy and energy management and energy data. I mean, is energy a personal data? Like this, I would say no. But just if you know the energy consumption of one apartment, for example, and you see that this apartment does not consume any energy from the end of Friday to the end of Saturday, can you learn something about the people who are living in this apartment? Well, in fact, you can learn many things. Whether these people always goes out on the weekend, whether these people have a religion that tells them not to use the electricity during the weekend or during the whole Saturday. But that's real. I mean, you can really say that this family does not use any electricity all the Saturday. And this really means something, which means that from this data, you can really learn personal things about people. And so the idea is how you can manage this data. So this data, for example, in a common, well, in big apartments, this data is not managed and sent in the cloud directly, but could be managed locally in the building, and the global data of the building, of all the apartment of the building can be sent, which means that this data is not directly available, but it's just sent in a set of other data, which means that you cannot directly say this is the apartment that does not consume energy. So you see that this question of controlling of security is not only managed in the cloud; it's also can be managed by the architecture that you build by managing the data, whether in the cloud, whether at the edge. And managing data does not mean only storing data. It's also mean consolidating data, analyzing data, and so on. And there are lots of ways to manage this today.
Oh, Mr. Bellick, you gave a great example here that made us think, because if somebody really leaves his apartment for one night, it's an open door for burglars. And of course, this data could be stored in the edge, but for an efficient city energy management, all data has to be stored in the cloud. So people are asking for a safe cloud storage. And here comes in the European Gaia-X project, because that is to create a data infrastructure and also a safe cloud that based on an open, transparent, but secure digital ecosystem, where data can be made available, collected, but shared in an environment of trust. So how does is this realized concretely? We have the specialist here, Dominic Ramos, CEO of Gaia-X Association. Who is behind Gaia-X and how is this realized concretely?
Thank you very much, Alexandra. My warmest welcome also to the friendly other panelists. Thank you very much for having me. It's a great honor and pleasure. Gaia-X is 2 years old now. We just last week celebrated our second summit. Just last Thursday and Friday, giving several dimensions of Gaia-X. There's certainly a political dimension, but in the end, it's about a technology and more specific about specifications, which are covering the policy and rulings that we develop, the certification scheme, and in particular, the labeling scheme. Before I come to that, let me underline one more time that Gaia-X is not a cloud provider, full stop. We are not another company. We are integrative. So to make it specific, since it was mentioned before, the global large hyperscalers are members. And actually, not any members, they are day one members. At the moment, Gaia-X has 318 members, increasing rapidly. And the uniqueness is that it covers all. About a little bit more than 40% are small, medium enterprises. Quite a number also from the smart living area, not only, but also. Beside large global players, more or less most important global cloud providers and infrastructure providers. This is exactly what it is about. The infrastructure is executed by member companies that adopt Gaia-X labeling schemes and specifications. We call them technical architecture document and architecture of standards. These are details. You can find them in the latest releases on the website. I will not deep dive into this at all. The key messages that were just delivered also by Bernhard, but also by Jeremy, I would like to underline. The point is that we experience really a shift, and that shift cannot be highlighted enough. So in the past, and Europe is strong in there, not only in the smart living area, also in industry, energy, and comparable. In the past, the data generation and the data gathering, data lake was just mentioned by Jeremy before. This is what we are really good in. I always call that domain competency. We have that, and we know exactly why data is created, where and how. But the point is that we experience a move to platform and service economy where Europe is not as strong as in. The data platform is really where the race of the market takes place, and it is clearly acknowledged throughout the entire event, and everyone is mentioning that. That brings up the topics. Since not a single operation is willing or able in Europe to really work as a platform provider, we have a few exemptions in Europe that can be mentioned, like Spotify or Zalando, a few of them. But a single proprietary private solution with a single sign-on and everything which comes out of that is obviously not given. And due to this reason, we need to federate. And that is exactly what Europe is strong about. We are able to federate and to find together then solutions. Let me also bring it to a higher level. Some people may say that European Union is weak. We always find bad compromises in the European Commission Sunday night at 3 a.m. If you turn that around, it's a strength, a unique strength worldwide, which you don't find in Asia, in America, or in Africa. That 27 members are able to find a compromise, a solution that then brings it forward. And this is exactly what it is about. The federation of the members of Gaia-X to be able to scale. And everything what was said before, in particular by Bernhard, but also by Jeremy, IT security, interoperability, not only that, portability, make that really clear. Portability and interoperability is exactly on the agenda. And last sentence, and let me underline that, we always thought that login effects by cloud providers are the problem. Seems to me, and seems to Gaia-X more and more, that this is kind of overdone. Everyone has a multi-cloud strategy. I agree. If you have an app on Amazon Web Service, it might be difficult to run exactly that app on Alibaba Cloud. That's true. But with some wrapping, it is possible. But really, the challenge we are facing is interoperability in all regards, not only the interface side, but in particular semantic information models. And this is the challenge we are facing. And I see here and there some lock-in effects. And that is clearly on our agenda. Why is it so complex, Alexandra? Let me bring that together. What you in the smart living are talking about is covering not only, and I'm speaking to the experts, so I don't want to even repeat on that. It's not just taking an energy management or a traffic compilation or geo information and then combining it together to have value-added services in the area of smart living and smart city. It is much more complex. We have to have smart contracts in our mind. We have to integrate energy, city, and many more. That has been done already in the past 40 years to make that also clear. But in an island solution thing, and we really here have to come together to collaborate, to integrate, and to respect domain competency. So basically where borders of another party are. And that is actually also my statement for today. The Gaia-X labels, we have 3 levels. So level 1 is basically ENISA basic, and then I don't go into any details. Level 3 is really everything in Europe, hosted in Europe, processed in Europe, gives transparency, and that is what it is about. It's like the same principle like GDPR. If you know what happens, how with your data, and just have this transparency on a mandatory way, this already opens the value creation out of data, because based on transparency, trust can be developed. And we have to also consider that everyone has its own identity management, fair enough. But if we find identity in a European level really realized and as a service addressable, as a base service, then we are there where Gaia-X wants to or will go and will deliver. So summary, basic services, basic framework in a federated way, that is Gaia-X. Definitely not domain competency. We call that data space. I do not open that topic at the moment. Is for sure with those who know how the market, the business, and the technology in their field has to be and goes. So that's the way how we offer cooperation. And I think we as Europe together can make a difference. We are about close to 500 million people, and we can only federate to come on the level that the few GAFAs in the world have. Again, it's integrative, they are members, but it is important that Europe reaches sovereignty in that respect. Again, we are not delivering sovereign technologies because it's not possible, it's not existing. The mindset based on European values to achieve sovereignty is our mindset, our driver. Thanks, Alexandra. Back to you.
Mr. Ramos, you federate for a transparent and secure infrastructure. Mr. Francois, you have really called for the unique digital infrastructure and the cooperation. Do you see the potential for the smart living market within this project, within Gaia-X?
Yes, of course. We are in close cooperation with smart living, and we intend to create SBR and smart living, a common approach around Gaia-X about smart living. So I think it's a key point. Yes, it's very important. It's really important that Mr. Romus is right. We need to have this transparency and to organize it. So it's key, and we need to create now this trust. And I'm convinced that with Gaia-X, or Gaia-X is a good path or good solution or good way to bring this trust to the citizens.
Mm. So Gaia-X is federative. In general, a lot of companies have to work together to ensure a secure data ecosystem. Mr. Durstel, for which kind of companies it's participating in the construction of a safe data ecosystem interesting or even necessary?
Very good question. Thank you for putting this question on the table. For me, all companies which are open for more than their own ecosystem, that are potential candidates. And from an end user perspective, an integrated and open multi-vendor approach is helpful and desirable. Also, the possibility for adding and deleting components or adding services based on installed smart living infrastructures, like everything as a service, on the wish list of the end users. If you want to dominate the market, you have to provide an open and secure system end to end. That is how I see it. And this can be an open, flexible, and secure ecosystem and that means a win-win-win situation: win for the end user, win for the partners, and win for the provider of services. So that is for me very important. And the smart living companies, the service providers, and the end users will win. And for me, in the end, the one question is who is ready to pay for more cybersecurity and for open ecosystems. And for the ecosystem providers, this is often an economical question, how much they invest for cybersecurity, which is for me always a foundation for open ecosystems, and we have to find answers. And transparency, which I like very much, is a very good concept from a end user perspective, but cybersecurity is for me the other part of the coin, which is absolutely necessary for open ecosystems. So both in combination is for me the key to success.
Mr. Ramos was very happy for your call of transparency. How do you?
I can only underline that what was just said by Bernhard. IT security is not a single thing that we have to. Identity comes on top, Bernhard, if you allow me to add that.
Yeah, I agree.
Where do you see more cooperation needed on data security? Mr. Belek, how can Germany and France drive this on a European level?
Well, I'm not the one expert in this domain. I would say that for this,
when you said a framework of German and French cooperation in general, how could they support the whole economy of smart living with security aspects, with the framework, to see it in a larger space?
In fact, I would say that what the SBA trying to produce is really working on this way. I would say on my side that this is, well, I'm sorry, maybe I will let Emmanuel François to respond to this question, because I think that SBA is really working on this subject of building this European framework in order to manage all of these things, and I believe that this is at this scale that things may work or should work.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Jeremy. That's right. We are trying now to extend the SBA at the European level. So last year we opened Spain. A few months ago we opened Italy, and we are already 80 members in Italy. And next year we will hopefully open almost all the rest of the countries in Europe. So we are well engaged. And the idea is not really to come with a unique idea, vision. It's to share a vision and to work in collective intelligence and to build the world of tomorrow globally, because nobody has the answer. And we see, even if we have the answer today, it will change tomorrow. So we need to be very active. And that's because we will work together that we can, I wish, solve it. And back to the cybersecurity, of course, it's a key point. And once again, I want to underline, digital is everywhere. So it's not just something we add or not, because I tell it, still now, you see real estate, you see social housing who are saying, I don't want digital. I just want to have very simple solution. But even in simple solution, you have digital. So it's just crazy. Digital is everywhere. So actually, I think this is not, it's a lack of responsibility to not integrate digital and to not think digital. Because at the end, you have this cybersecurity problem. And I would like to say here, today, in every project, we should integrate at least 15% of the cost in cybersecurity. Straight now. It's unavoidable. But of course, it is not the unique reason why we should not have interoperability. Because if we have not interoperability, this will be not sustainable because we will have a silo approach. Those are the reasons why we need to work together and go in the same direction. And that's the reason why we work on this R2S framework, the ready to service framework, which integrates interoperability, connectivity, and cybersecurity. And we want to share it with the largest ecosystem, the largest stakeholders, in order to enrich and work together. And that's the reason why we want also to create this link with Gaia X, because we are convinced this is a step, and this is also a key milestone.
I may add also that, you know, in this European framework, I believe that small companies like ours, but small European companies also have a different approach than the one that you see in the US or in Asia, for example, because here we have the RGPD, which means that we are very, very well. The States and the Europe is quite. I mean, look really provides regulation around these personal data and so on, and was the first to provide this kind of regulation, which means that all the small French, European, German company need to adapt to this, and also to provide kind of new approach to what maybe you call it secure by design, or all this new kind of approach. And I believe that this can lead to well, a European approach to this data management system. If you look at an example, for example, you know, in Toronto, there was this big project of Google named Sidewalk Labs that didn't work at the end because, of course, Google has a unique digital big cloud infrastructure approach where all the data was managed by Google. And at the end, all the citizens of Toronto didn't want this approach, didn't want their data to be managed by this company. Of course, this big centralized approach is the one that you can see in Asia or in the US. Here, I believe that in Europe, we have this decentralized approach also. Of course, cloud is important, but edge also is important. And it's both edge and cloud. And we can really have this new kind of approach because we have the regulation that leads all these new European companies to work on this kind of architecture. And I believe that in this way, maybe we have something that could be managed or could be taken by the European Commission that says, okay, we are going to work specifically on this. I mean, cloud is cloud, of course, we need cloud, but we don't have the big cloud player. But maybe we will have the big edge player. And the building and the building industry and all this building industry is something that is very distributed. I mean, buildings are not centralized. There is not one building in the center of Europe. There are as many buildings as you have cities. There are hundreds and millions of buildings. And I believe that this digital approach and this distributed approach correlated with the centralized approach in the cloud is something that we can build, and that is really quite new, and that Europe also can promote.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Belek. European cooperation is needed. Germany and France already work together today. Is a good possibility for German and French companies to work together, for the alliance to work together. Thank you for your contributions. I would like to open the floor are there any questions for our panelists? I see for Emmanuel Francois, within your approach, do you consider that the best solution that means these considerations could be building operation system?
Building an operating system is just a milestone of the global digital infrastructure. And it's not the only solution, no. It's it's as if you would say that the operating system of your computer is a solution. No, it's a piece of the digital infrastructure. So, and we'll integrate the building operating system in a global solution, which we call the digital twin, which is more broader, and which can be at the building level, at the district level, and the territory level. And I think it's we have to have it in mind.
Well, thank you, Mr. Francois. There are no more questions for you. Then I just will close up here. Time is already approaching to the end. Mr. Dursten, Mr. Belek, Mr. Romus, Mr. Francois, thank you very much for participating. All this morning has been very intense. With 2 roundtables presentations of German companies. What did we hear? Smart living market offers many opportunities, makes life easier for users, ensures security, and offers possibility for efficiency energy management, for example, new mobility and new living possibilities. At the same time, there are still many challenges to be solved. We heard that in Germany and France, for example, there are different frameworks, a different culture, different housing systems, other technologies, other services, and this leads to different solutions. But the barriers keep similar. We need cooperations in pricing to increase the value. We need to ease the use of smart living products and services, and we need to ensure privacy and security. How can we ensure that the different services and products work together? Initiatives like Meta try to make an ecosystem that is less complex and develop the same language, as Mr. Francois says. They try to develop the basis for interoperability. But the important questions are also the data security. Where's the data stored? Where is the unique digital infrastructure? So German and French corporations are very important. There are also corporations like Gaia X, which federate companies and actors to ensure transparency and cybersecurity. But we have also storage in the edge that is an alternative and needs to be developed. Security, sustainability, and control that are very important to build a smart living ecosystem and infrastructure. Therefore, German and French cooperation is important. And I thank all the people, all the representatives from the initiatives and from the companies that you have participated in this discussion. I thank you for your participation. Everybody, again, who is interested in meeting the 8 companies that have presented today, please contact us. And I really have to thank the Smart Living Initiative in Germany, the Smart Building Alliance in France, the Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy, and the Mittelstand Global to allow the German-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry to organize this conference today. I hope to see you again, and I wish you a very nice day. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you very
Goodbye.
much. Goodbye. All the best. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.